You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. And be sure to smash that like button. Our buddy Shea Dixon from On3, the Bengal Tiger, good enough to join us for a couple of minutes. Shady, we appreciate you as always, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Of course, man. So, final game, but it's Thanksgiving week. Your final home game, of course. How big of a deal is this for recruiting, assuming your last time to get recruits on campus to watch a home game?
I think it's twofold or multi-tiered here. I think it's important to get some guys in here at the end. Look, George McIntyre, 2025's number 2 quarterback, right behind Bryce Underwood, will be back for his second game of the season this weekend when he visits. And he's going to have, by the time LSU's home season rolls around next year, he'll already be committed somewhere. So you've even got juniors who are going to come onto campus and maybe make their final game visit before making a decision this off season. But as you noted, it's Thanksgiving week. The game's at 11, so for out-of-state kids, it's obviously tough to get in, especially if they're in the playoffs. And a lot of these kids are playing on Friday night, so can you turn around and wake up at 5 a.m. and drive in from wherever and get to an 11 a.m. game if you're in Texas or somewhere like that? I think that's what we're monitoring. But most notably, I think, Matt, is the kind of LSU Texas A&M battles we have going on down here down the stretch, which includes a Texas guy in 5-star Terry Bussey, an athlete who could play really either way, but LSU likes him at DB, and then 2 Louisiana defensive linemen in Don McKinley over to Acadiana, and then Gabe Relaford at Evangel as the 3 guys who are still committed to A&M that LSU's been pursuing, and LSU obviously already flipped one 5-star commitment from Texas A&M and Weston Davis. That happened before Jimbo even got fired. Now, is LSU able to add to that at all as, the Aggies are in a transition and during this time period where they're looking for a new coach?
You always tell me, Shea, that, recruits that aren't swayed by one game, right? So why would Saturday be more influential, say, for Bussey, McKinley, or Relaford than normal?
Well, and that was part of my multi-tiered answer here, and I'd frame it this way, that even beyond these kids who are deciding between LSU and A&M, I think for LSU, what's at stake this weekend? And on the Bengal Tiger podcast this week in our mailbag, I debated Matty B, a.k.a. Matty B, on our site about this. And I may be in the wrong here. I may not be viewing this right. Maybe I need to put it in exact verbiage that matches the point I'm trying to get across. I think, for me, this is one of the, if not the, I'll make the argument of the most important game of Brian Kelly's tenure at LSU so far. And people will say, well, that's not true. They've played Florida State twice, or he beat Bama, or they went to an SEC championship. Look, A&M a year ago, had they won that game, they were getting into a New Year's Six Bowl. But you lose this time, and you lose that chance at saying, hey, we had back-to-back 10-win seasons in our first 2 years here. And recruits see that as trending up. If you lose this game, you're an 8-14. You're not making any off-season noise here. You win it, you're back in that position where as a top 15 program, you're saying, look, back-to-back double-digit win seasons, and maybe just as big, if not bigger, for the longevity of what you're selling here. And if they don't win Saturday, does Jaden Daniels win the Heisman? I mean, even if he plays well, is a 4-loss quarterback winning the Heisman if Bo Nix then goes out there and continues to shine? I mean, obviously the chances go down. So we're talking 10-win seasons, Heisman, Biletnikoff chances, it's the best receiver in the country from Malik Neighbors. All these different things work for recruiting, what you're selling, the future of the program. And I just see Saturday and the need to get to 9 wins at this point in year 2, where if you win this game, you're probably winning a Heisman. You may win a Biletnikoff. You're probably then going to win 10 games as being the most important game so far of Kelly's tenure.
Okay, there's a compelling case to be made right there. Shea Dixon's with us. He's on Twitter at Shea Dixon. Shea, I know we talked last year when LSU played Tennessee at 11 a.m. and what felt like a missed opportunity. You had a top 10 team coming in, and the game was at 11 a.m. You alluded to it, how difficult it might be for kids to get here. right? If you're playing on a Friday night, can you turn around and get to Baton Rouge for 11 a.m.? Does the kickoff time tomorrow, or Saturday rather, matter at all for recruiting purposes outside of just what you'd stated prior?
I don't think so, because look, that Tennessee game was also Kelly's first year. It was the middle of the season. With this one, you're at the end of the year. You only have a handful of spots or guys left you are recruiting that you would need to get in this weekend to really take a swing at. And let's say, for instance, Gabe Relaford at Evangel. Evangel's out of the playoffs now. He's coming down this weekend. So even with 11 o'clock, he's able to make it. So it's not that big of a deal. Yes, look, you'd love to have like a massive visitor list and everybody be able to come. And an 11 a.m. kickoff makes that difficult. Do I think that ultimately knocks them and like doesn't get them a kid in this class because of it? No, I don't think that's a big worry for me. I think more so than anything, it's just, hey, you have a handful of spots left, and they will have multiple JUCO defensive linemen in this weekend, which are targets for them here down the stretch. So if you've got 25 commits and you want to end up between 25 and 30, I would guess that a handful of those guys that may end up in the class will be there this weekend, regardless of 11 a.m. or 7 p.m.
Shea, when you were here last week, we talked about how the next 6 weeks are really big. You'll have 3 big-time commits that'll all make their announcement here, in the next 6 weeks or so. But walk me through the timeline with the transfer portal window opening that first week of December, and it being Thanksgiving now. Walk me through the recruiting timeline of what's going to be relevant here over the next 14 days or so.
Sure. So I guess even beyond these 14 days, I'd say if you're looking at announcements that are set, you've got Keelan Moses on November 30th, who is the U-High linebacker, 4-star. You have Harlan Berry, 5-star, number 1 running back in the country out of New Orleans, or out of St. Martin's in Metairie, is December 18th. And then Bryce Underwood, who obviously, we've talked about him a ton, is the number 1 overall prospect in the country for next year, and a 5-star quarterback who will announce his decision on January 6th. So we have dates set now for a number of very important players on LSU's board. Now, as you noted, right after the portal opens, I believe that first week after championship games is when the portal will open. So you'll have that 30-day window that people kind of immediately dive into, and I think we'll make it kind of a day-to-day, paying attention to what all's happening. But from just a recruiting calendar perspective, you get through this weekend. I believe that the portal then opens, and December 1st through the 16th, I think it is the contact period. So you can have kids on campus. You can do in-home visits. You can do all those different things that lead up to the early signing period. And then the early signing period would begin, I think it's December 18th, and runs 3 days. So we are right up against it. Within this month now will be the portal opening, in-home visits with high school kids, and contact period, which allows everything, including official visits, and then right up to signing day. It
is a sprint to the early signing period there in the middle of December. Shea Dixon over at On3, they'll have it all covered. He's on Twitter at Shea Dixon. Make sure you're following him there, and you can get all the stuff there at On3, the Bengal Tiger. Shea, we appreciate you as always, man. Have a great rest of your week. Happy Thanksgiving, man.
Yeah, same to you and yours, Matt. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.